Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is, whoops, this is channel mascot, Noodle. Say hi, lady. Say hi, lady. Okay, bye-bye. Um, I have a renewed sense of direction and purpose, and I have not posted a video in a while, so I wanted to come. My bangs are doing really freaking weird, crazy things, and it's bothering me. Um, Yay, autism. Um, but I really decided that. So I finally came across the book, The Courage to Be Disliked. And I realized that in all of my bravado about not caring if I'm popular, I have achieved the opposite goal, and I have still not, actually done anything that I've wanted to do. And I realized that it is because I am, in fact, scared, that I have not yet faced my absolute abject fear of rejection. So once I realized that I hadn't addressed that yet, I was like, okay, now we have a direction. And now I have a way to cope when I come up on those days where I'm just like, I don't want to read, I don't want to do anything. I just want to, dry rot, basically, is essentially what I've been doing. I'm almost finished with Babel. And I have a review of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue that I want to post on my Ko-fi. Oh, cat bumped into my camera. Girly, go away. But these are things that I have been, hesitant to post about because, I share my feelings about how if you are not adopted, if you are kept, that gives you privilege. People don't want to hear that. People are spreading lies about me because I won't defer to somebody. If I truly believe that you do not know what you are talking about, I will say, nope, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to couch that to protect your feelings. And people take exception to that, and I have been getting smeared all over the internet since then. And, the fact of the matter is, running scared hasn't stopped them from continuing to double down and keep spreading those lies about me and my friends, right? So I am more than ready to take my power back, right? This happened over a year ago. I'm no longer associated with any of those people, like my ex-boyfriend, none of that. And, the time for me being afraid to ask for help is over. Because if you are still a part of any sort of group that believes that punishment is better than rehabilitation, you are not safe to be around anyway, right? Like, if I have done something so egregiously terribly wrong, which none of these people, including my ex-boyfriend, have ever been able to prove substantially. But if I have, tell me what I've done wrong. Give me a chance to change. Like, I don't deserve to be, prevented from getting mutual aid and being a part of community because a select group of people decided they can't handle my existence. Like, I'm not asking people to tolerate me if they really can't. Like, that's not what I'm asking. What I am asking is, if you are one of those people who've decided that you can't tolerate being around me, you don't try to make out like that means I deserve to be eradicated from the face of the planet, because that is essentially the result of this continued isolation and ostracization, whatever. That word, ostracization, you know what I mean there. um, so I'm just not even going to let that get in my head anymore, because it does nothing but make me cow to the doubts and whatnot. So if there's ever any sort of like anybody trying to come to you about me, just know that nothing that anybody says about me is true, and you're more than welcome to believe it if you want, for whatever, you know, if you have your reasons for believing it. Just know that you are facilitating infiltration, abuse of power dynamics in social justice movements, Darvo, all sorts of things, like, because I acknowledge that it's easy to believe the things that some people say about me. Doesn't mean it's true, and it doesn't mean that you have the okay to just believe it without doing your due diligence. So do your due diligence and make sure that you know exactly who you're throwing in with if you decide that you believe the lies about me. That being said, I'm almost finished reading Babel. And for those of you who read it, you know what I mean when I say that it is so utterly relevant right now. Like, when I tell you that I hate Letty, like, I can't even begin to describe how much I hate her, right? Like, I am not to the end of the book yet, but to where I am about 100 pages to the end, she represents everything about whiteness and white womanhood, that just the way that it's written, and the fact that R.F. Kuang has also written Yellowface, like, it is frightening how many white women read this book and don't recognize themselves in that character in a way that makes them, like, I'm already along the path, far enough along the path of my, you know, anti-racism journey that I knew right from the get-go that she was not going to be a sympathetic character. But the fact that she is not a sympathetic character, I consider her one of the antagonists of the story, or one of the, you know, diametric oppositions to Robin, who I consider the main character of the story. It's unsettling to me that there are people who would go into this book without that prior, like, continuing to give her the benefit of the doubt as a character, without seeing the real world parallels of how people are always consistently giving white women the benefit of the doubt, even when everything that they do or say spits directly in the face of everything that, like every single one of her actions should have given these people the sense that they couldn't trust her, right? But that is supposed to be what the commentary is of whiteness and white womanhood in this story. Like, and the fact that people don't see that it's meant to be a mirror for the white people reading the story. Like, it's what makes me feel like we need to keep having these conversations, because I mean, we need to keep having these conversations in a, from a socio-political and a psychological standpoint, because I'm not, obviously, not a person of color. I'm not Black, Indigenous, whatever. But I do understand that concept of clinging to the privilege that keeps you safe, the way that Robin did, and the way that Letty very clearly did, unapologetically, whereas Robin eventually realized that that was not how he wanted to be. And I have realized that, but it's still, it's a very, very difficult unpacking process for white people to go through. And so, then not only do people get hung up on the way the book is written, right? It's called Babel, an arcane history, right? Like, it's esoteric and very dense, and it's not super easy to read. Like, I would put this up there right with The Secret History. I keep having to put that down because it is not very easy to read. And I think that the layers of criticism that Babel gets is because white people don't want to have to put in the work to understand something from a theological perspective that doesn't immediately cater to the way that we learn or the way that we understand things. White people are very much represented by the vernacular and everyday language in this book. Like, it's our thing to expect people to make themselves understandable to us as white people, from the perspective of using English as the universal language, and then that gives them the excuse to put down the book and then say, oh well, I ignored the the implications this has in real life for me as as a white person who's refusing to absorb this at all. And I guess if you have to trudge through a book or sludge through a book, don't, right? Like, whatever, I get it. But this is one of those books where I feel like the point is important enough and relevant enough to everything that is happening currently. Especially, like, I am 100%, if you've read the book, I am 100% with Griffin, right? Like, public opinion is important when it comes to revolution. But you've seen, right, with the protests and the support for a ceasefire, right? Overwhelming majority of American people, because I'm American, so the overwhelming majority of American people support the Palestinian cause for liberation, right? To some degree, the overwhelming majority support a ceasefire. That's public opinion. Public opinion doesn't matter to the people in power. They're going to do what they want to do anyway until and unless we decide we are going to do something about it with violence. And that is why I kind of am choosing to thumb my nose at the people who won't at least try to force themselves, to push themselves through the theology and the linguistics and the, academic aspects of this book to get to the message, to get to the point. That's how important I think it is. I've said it before, I'm not normally the person to say, oh, if you didn't like this book, you just didn't get it. I'm saying if you didn't like this book, you need to go back again and make sure. Just make sure that it's not because you're taking the white way out and not putting in the work, because understanding across culture requires work. We're not used to doing that work. We're used to everybody having to cater to us, translate for us to get us to understand because we're the ones with the power. If you are truly doing anti-racism work as a white person, you will recognize that power and do what you can to overcome whatever is stopping you from being able to appreciate the theology and the linguistics, and just work through it. Just get through it. And, and I understand that my opinion on that is quite unpopular. A lot of people are like, whatever. When a book is this interlinked, this obviously interlinked with current events, I feel it's necessary to drive people to give it, if you're white, give it a second chance if you couldn't get through it, if that's the reason you couldn't get through it. Because this book is necessary. If you have not checked out my Ko-fi yet, please do. I'm going to try to get into weekly blog posts starting tomorrow. Weekly blog posts, bi-weekly videos. I have to be really diligent about if I schedule time to be able to come film in front of my bookshelf, I have got to take it. So hopefully that will be coming out. I'm gonna do the majority of my book reviews on my Ko-fi, simply because the books I've been reading lately, I just have too much to say about them to put them in, in Fable reviews or that kind of thing. So if you're interested in the kinds of things that I have to say about the books that I read, I'm not charging anybody to be a part of my Ko-fi yet. I'm not there yet. I am simply asking for people to be a part of my community, be in community with me, and let's talk about the books that we love, and forget about the people who, are trying to neg that or tear that apart based on lies. I just want to focus on books and other people that enjoy the same books I do. So if you're here for that, great. Don't forget to please, I always say, until I get a regular schedule, the best way to make sure that you don't miss a video is to ring the notification bell, 1, and 2, because YouTube likes to mess with channels that they don't support the content of. Follow me on Fable or Threads. Those are the two places where I will do most of the, hey, what's up, I got a video coming kind of post. So stay tuned for that. Follow me there, and we will see you in the next video.